Folks, welcome to an all new So Bad It's Good. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Thursday episode. We're doing a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion part two recap. How the heck is everybody doing out there? It is 9:20 p.m. on Wednesday night. I don't know if you even need to know the time. I feel like I'm in an episode of Summer House where it's like Thursday, 5:27 p.m., but it is 9:19 p.m. here in Los Angeles. Guys, I got to tell you. I know I can be sappy. I know I can be overly emotional. I know all of that stuff about me, and I'm going to lean into that even more. I had the crazy, not the crazy. I just had one of the. Have you ever had that thing where it's like one of the best days in terms of your work, but I'm so out of it right now because I had so much energy and excitement and enthusiasm and worry about these two interviews I did today in person. And I did them. And now I have to refocus on Beverly Hills, even though the one of the people I was talking about actually is heavily involved or talking to is heavily involved in Beverly Hills. It is just, it is wild. Like, guys, when I started this 5 years ago, I just never in my wildest dreams could have imagined. And, uh, just fucking sorry for the language, but just thank you for being here to listen, and enough listeners where I get to really interview just people that I genuinely never thought I would get a chance to talk to. And I can't wait for you to hear both of these interviews next week. Yeah, that's it. I just wanted to start with a really just a great, just a huge appreciation. What is this life I'm living right now is wild. Like I'm busting my ass like I've never busted my ass before. And there are still so many things that are not getting done in every aspect and avenue of my life. But I am so damn appreciative, and I get to wake up tomorrow, and I get to I got to wake up early and do another interview with a really cool actor, and then I get to go to Vegas with Jeff Lewis and all the chumps for ChumpCon, which is this weekend. I don't know, man. Like, and I know this sounds. I hope this doesn't sound braggy or anything because I'm busting my butt, but I'm just. I just never thought. I just never thought. Also, dude, I got home today and there was a huge package from Bravo TV, and it was for Below Deck Down Under, which airs Monday night, and you can stream it on Peacock. There you go. There's your commercial. But they sent me this package. Go to my Instagram and check it out. They sent me this package. It had like a little video screen with like, "Hey mate, it's me, Captain Jason. I sound like PK." And it had a bathrobe. It had my initials on the bag. It had like this thing to hold a passport that had my initials. It had a bottle of Veuve Clicquot. It had these fancy potato chips that I've seen in TikToks where they use them to dip caviar. There wasn't caviar in there, but there was so much cool. There was like this really nice candle, and I was just blown away. And I just am like, what the F? And I, 5 years ago, if I thought Bravo would be sending me a bunch of shit, I mean, a cool shit, but like, it just blows my mind. Also, there was a post today about Bravo about the thing I did on the Valley, which I'm tagged in. You can hear my laugh at the end, but they did not include a clip of me in this clip. I think you'll see why. I believe you will see the part I did on May 5th. On May 5th. And the Valley premieres this upcoming Tuesday, and we'll recap that and all of that stuff. But that's it. How are you? See, listen, I just sat there and bragged about myself for the first 4 minutes of the show. How are you guys? Are you good? Wow. Okay, let's just all calm it down. Let's get to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Thank you to Juliana Carrozza, who's taken notes all season. Juliana, Juliana's only got one more episode to go of watching these ladies. What I will say about this reunion is that this second part of the reunion was probably one of my favorite episodes of the season. It's like these reunions are better than the actual show themselves this season. And I find that really, really interesting. And I think it's that environment where they're like caged animals. They all have to be, they're forced to have these conversations. And there's a moderator. Like Andy Cohen's like a school teacher going, no, you got to answer. I like Andy pushing Kyle about the Morgan stuff. I thought Dorit, like Sutton, calling out Sutton Sutton. Sutton really overly quiet these first two episodes, and I think that she's done a great disservice to herself because she was so activated during the season, and then you can't come in all quiet as a church mouse and just be like, "Well, I'm just here. I'm just here to listen." I say, no, get in there, man. And you don't got Garcelle next season. You are gonna get your butt stomped. You got it. Like I told you last week, we got to get Sutton into some sort of training camp for Bravo Housewives, and we got to get her training now because she is in for a very bad season next season if things don't change. Because we've got Garcelle gone, and I imagine all of the rest of those ladies are probably going to be asked back whether you like that or not. And I feel like they keep investing in Kyle because she's been there from the beginning. I mean, she is OG, but it almost feels like at times they're investing in Kyle actually opening up about her life. Like they're pushing, and hopefully a camera will be on when she decides to go to whatever this next phase of her life is. And I think that worked a little bit with Dorit this season. So I'm just very curious. Now, this episode, we had Kathy Hilton, the performance artist of Beverly Hills. Hello, it's me, Cal. I'm here, guys. I bumped into a curtain. You had Kathy Hilton come in, and you had Jennifer Tilly to show off all of her baubles, all of her expensive jewelry that the money from her ex-husband that he made on The Simpsons. Rest in peace, Sam Simon. And watching Erika Jayne salivate every time Jennifer Tilly comes on with her rings and jewelry. Oh my God. And I think, isn't that like kind of the great, there's karmic energy there because Erika Jayne, unless like some kind of weird lottery thing happens, will never be able to own any of those expensive baubles. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm just saying, isn't that kind of karmic to just covet all of these things? And at this point, you will never be able to have them. And if you ever do show off expensive baubles, people will be on your ass for the most part. But she got some free wallpaper out of this season, so congratulations. What did you guys think? Were you into this? I just thought this was way better. And I'm like, maybe just do a full season of Beverly Hills where it's just a reunion. We have 18 episodes of a reunion. Like, let's just fucking talk this show out from the very beginning. And then each like episode will bring Carlton back, or hopefully Kim will be able to join us. And you just do a whole season of just that reunion sit down type of thing. I mean, it's just like an elevated version of a podcast, but I'm truly here for it. Now, this is episode 19 of this season. We have one more to go. This is reunion part two. And the cable company gives us this description. The reunion continues as Kyle and Dorit face off over Kyle's text to PK. Did you ever think in a million years that that a storyline would be about somebody texting PK? Like it just hey, of course, I've got the stuff. I've got the juice. It's me, PK Kemsley. You don't have a show without me, babe. Like, but are we in like dire straits if that's a storyline? Like Kyle's texting PK. I do understand the relevance of that, and I understand the weight of that because Kyle's supposed to be Dorit's ride or die. But I think after this season, we realize that is not the case at all. I think if anything, we realize that Kyle, she's liked Dorit more in earlier years, and now she's a coworker of Dorit's, and I think that kills Dorit in so many ways, and I think it kills a lot of us in a little. We want to believe in these friendships, right? But I do genuinely think that Kyle enjoys PK more than she enjoys Dorit. And the other thing is, I said this last week. And I don't mean this necessarily as a bad thing, but Kyle is just a consummate politician. She is leading the witness. She is contacting, like we had the guy doing the Diddy podcast on the episode yesterday, Brian Buckmeyer, and we talked about how Diddy, one of the reasons he is not out on bail was that because he has like a kind of a alleged history of going to witnesses and like allegedly paying off people. And Kyle will reach out to people throughout the season and before the reunion and be like, hey, I love you so much and we're friends. Can we please not bring this up tomorrow? I want it to remain between us. Like she's legitimately swaying the results of this show. Like they should take Kyle's phone away right before the reunion so she can leave no messages to anybody. The description continues. Bose stands firm on her claim that one of the women is not telling the truth. Bose said this in this week's episode, and I've been hearing this a lot lately in vernacular of stand 10 toes down. And now I'm saying it like a jackass. Like I literally said it, I think, in both interviews today. I go, you got to step 10 toes down. I'm like, what the fuck is your. I'm from Kansas. Are you kidding me? What am I step? I can barely, I've got weird arches on my feet. I can't step 10 toes down. But like now Bo says it, and I just say it all the time. You better be willing to stand 10 toes down on that thing. Jennifer Tilly joins the action, and Sutton is put in the hot seat. I'm not going to be put in the hot seat. I am the hot seat, I say, I say. Andy gives us the voiceover. Tonight, it's part two of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion. And we have, the standard clips you see of what we're going to see tonight, blah, blah, blah. So we start the part two of the reunion, and a production assistant greets Jennifer Tilly just arriving. She has like 800 pounds of jewelry with her. We see Kathy Hilton arriving with curlers in her hair and is taken to the dressing room. She's like, oh my God, I thought we were in Hawaii. Oh, is this Burbank? The glam squad to Jennifer Tilly's like, would you like some water? And Jennifer's like, I would love a coffee. What kind of donuts do they have? Oh, maple bars are my favorite. And we have Garcelle in her dressing room, and that's where we left off. Episode one was Garcelle was talking to Sutton, going like, "What the fuck happened out there? What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding?" Like, I mean, I know I'm cursing a lot, but that was like kind of the vibe. So we're back there, and Garcelle's like, "You can't trust any of them." And Sutton's like, "Yeah, I didn't know the cow was so angry." I say. And we rewind to earlier in the first episode where Kyle's like, "The thing is with both of you, the two of you together are mean girls." Come on. Like, listen, I think everybody in this cast at one point or another are mean girls. I I just pray sometimes. I wish he would redo scenes because I wish Kyle would have said that, and I wish Garcelle and Sutton would have just cackled, would have just doubled down on it of like, oh my God. Yeah, okay, we're mean girls. Okay. So Garcelle to Sutton's like, this is bullshit. And Sutton is scared because she's coming up in the hot seat. And Sutton's like, well, this is awful. Can I go home now? I'll say. And Garcelle's like, I want to too. Now in Kathy's dressing room, they have a really quick shot. She's getting glam and makeup and hair. And this poor woman is on her knees giving Kathy a foot massage. Yes, dear, please rub my corn. Yes. What's that line from Christmas Vacation? I'll give Audrey a quarter if she rubs my corn as production assistants telling her parents, Mom, I got a job on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And then she has to like call all ashamed at the end of the day. I'm like, how was it, sweetie? I had to rub Kathy Hilton's corn and her bunion. And they didn't really let me on set at all. Production says, how are you feeling about today, Kathy? Are you excited? And Kathy's like, I'm enjoying my lunch. It's very good chicken. And the stylist is like, no, Kathy, about the lunch, about going out there on stage. And she's like, oh, I'm excited. It also says something about this season when the audience is like, wow, maybe that chicken is like, I wish I could taste that chicken. You're like, maybe that chicken is potentially more fascinating. Now, the women are getting all settled back on set, and Garcelle's like, how annoyed do I look? I'm very annoyed. She's whispering to Sutton. She's like, it's better to speak your truth now than to have them come back later with some other shit. So she's trying to even like kind of push Sutton and like wake the F up. Production's like, five, four, three, two. We're back with the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion. I'm Andy Cohen. So we just took a lunch break. Garcelle, was there something you wanted to say? I wish Andy was like, Garcelle, we heard you were talking mad shit in your dressing room. Is there anything you'd like to say now? And Garcelle's like, yeah, I just wanted to say to Kyle that it feels like you told me things off camera to shut me up. And Kyle, she's desperately holding on to her crystals. I told you off camera because there was stuff that I couldn't say on camera, and I was just trusting you and sharing with you. It was my way of getting to a deeper level with you and showing that we're friends and trusting you. I just felt like she should keep winking. This is what I'm trying to do. But right there, it's just a form of manipulation. I love Kyle, but like, I just wish Kyle would be like, yeah, I did try to, I did do that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to keep everything as private as possible this year. I hope you can understand. Like, everybody is not doubling down on their actual wants and needs. So Garcelle's like, okay, okay, thanks for that. And he's like, well, you felt a certain way about her telling you some information off camera. Was it about she who cannot be named? And I was like, oh my God, the female Voldemort, Morgan Wade. She stalked me. It's me, Morgan. Also, I feel like when Kyle or anybody in Housewives around Andy says something of like, I said it to you off camera, Andy should be like, okay, I'm finding you $500 and you will be going to sit in timeout. We will not be having private conversations that we cannot be having on this stage or on this show, period. And now the producer is going to go spank you. So we have a flashback of 9 months earlier about the headline. Kyle Richards addresses Paris trip with Morgan Wade after shooting down romance rumors. And we have Kyle at this Sutton surreal party from the first episode saying, all of the things being said out there. I know there's a lot of curiosity about the person they were talking about. I'm not using her name intentionally, and I don't want to speak on anyone's behalf except my own. It's not my place to talk about other people. What do you think this is? A reality TV show about my life? At this point, I feel like we should like more like Kyle should just make a joke out of it and call her like Borgan Bade. Oh, you mean Borgan Bade? Like at this point, it is now being like the fact that we're not talking about her is making us talk about her even more. And I I don't know. I'm so confused. Andy says, for people at home who are saying, wait, you're on a reality show. Thank you, Andy. You're supposed to tell us everything that you would say what to them. And Kyle's like, I'm not going to, for example, say something that is going to affect my daughter's lives for a TV show, for a network, for fans, for ratings, ever. So if it's going to hurt somebody that I love and care about, I don't care. Now, you might be asking yourself, Ryan, what about all those times in previous seasons of the show? Like in the first season, when she revealed that her sister Kim was an alcoholic. What about then? My argument to that is, well, maybe she's talking about in retrospect, this is what she has learned. And I don't know. I mean, it's such a delicate we've talked about this so much. Like, yeah, I don't nobody wants to out anybody. Nobody wants to do any of that shit, and obviously there is something going on because, if not, it'd just be like, she's my friend. Shut the F up. I'm a potty mouth today, you guys. Um, and also, I will say though, I do respect the thing about her daughters and stuff, but I'm also, this is such a personal decision, but I would also, I don't think this is embarrassing. I think it will be embarrassing if Kyle's on the show 2 seasons from now and we're still going, the person we can't talk about. It will get embarrassing, but for different reasons than Kyle thinks. So Bose goes, I just don't see why it's not okay for you to say, like, I'm not doing that. It is okay to say, I'm not sharing. Like, stand in that. Put 10 toes down. And you're like, I'm not going to talk about it. Y'all can feel any kind of way you want about it. I'm not doing it. But you don't have to say, oh, I'm sharing. I'm sharing. Bo's making a brilliant point going, don't like you can just say you don't want to talk about it, but don't say I'm sharing so much. I'm sharing so much. It's not an either that this or that. Like, listen, I will trade in any of your Mauricio conversations for a little bit of conversation about Morgan Wade at this point. Because Mauricio, like, I know more about Mauricio's dating life this season than I've ever known. Like, do you think Mauricio signed up to have? He's like, I would prefer if you didn't say that I wasn't as good looking as Brad Pitt and that I don't have a lot of money, and you make fun of me every episode, and the girls do too as well. But yeah, I prefer that not to happen. Kyle's like, yeah, I could have. I guess I could have not said anything and just zipped my mouth like a lot of people do here. Deflection. And he says, Dorit, you've said that Kyle has two sets of rules, one for everybody else and one for you. And Dorit's like, yep. And Kyle's like, see, I also feel like that. She has different roles with Erika than she had with me. And Dorit's like, how so? And Kyle's like, it's the same thing. Like, you're quick to forgive and let things brush off with Erika and not with me, Kyle Richards. And Dorit's like, when have I ever held a grudge with you? Ever? And Kyle's like, you let things slide with her. And Dorit's like, I don't let things slide with her. I let things slide with you more than anyone in the group. It's so interesting. In the not talking about things, it really does make it harder on Kyle because you have people like Dorit. Now I'm like, what the fuck else are we hiding? What is going like? Does Kyle have IBS? Does she have a severe case of IBS and we've been just hiding it from the show for 14 seasons? Shout out to Camille Grammer, by the way. No, all joking aside, she was the face of IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. I'm a proud member of that. I mean, obviously. But remember when Camille Grammer was the face of IBS? I'm not joking at all. That's completely true. Anyways, but like, what else are we hiding with Kyle? Dorit's like, that's why I got to where I got to genuinely. And Erica's like,
All I know is I had PTSD, Putska, coming in today because I thought, my God, is somebody going to come in my dressing room and show me a text?
and we flash back to last season when politician Kyle went into Dorit's dressing room and showed the text that Kyle sent to Dorit. And Erika is reading it from last season. This is from Kyle saying, "Hi, I've been wanting to reach out because I know we're in a weird place and it really bothers me. Of course, some of the interview comments hurt my feelings and created more issues for me. They always do. I don't want to lose someone else in my life over a TV show." And Dorit's like, "How would you feel if you got this message?" This is from last season. And Erica's like,
I would feel manipulated.
wouldn't it be great if Erica was like,
I'd feel horny, yeah.
so back in the reunion, Andy goes, "So Dorit, do you stand by reading the text?" And Dorit's like, when Kyle went publicly and said, "I exaggerated our friendship and there were no more rules," you couldn't go any lower. And that I exaggerated our friendship to me, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I am the camel and my back is broken. That meant there were no more rules. It's smoke 'em if you got 'em. It was simply to demonstrate that I had sent her a text message months before. No response. There were a good 3, 4 months. And Kyle's like, "Oh, for my birthday, I know you texted me." "That's right, Kyle. No response. Nothing. Didn't hear from her." And Kyle's like, "That was right after Watch What Happens Live." And Dorit's like, "Yeah, that's right. So you were upset about Watch What Happens Live." And Kyle's like, "I was. I was." We have a flashback to 2023, Watch What Happens Live. Andy saying to Dorit, "How has Kyle's new friendship with Morgan Wade affected your friendship with her?" "I mean, she'll kill me, but I feel the closer that she got with Morgan, the further she got from me." And he's like, "Wow, zoinks, what?" I mean, this is such a bizarre statement, too, because, yeah, it's just a bizarre stuff. Like you just start writing fanfic, guys. This is how much I'm losing it. You just start writing fan fiction in your head, because then I'm like, oh shit, did Kyle and Dorit bone? Oh, hell yeah, Sapphic in the BHOB. Like there seemed to be a little bit of jealousy. I don't know. This is just my stupid college frat. I'm not a frat. Anyways, Sutton is shaking her head while this whole conversation is happening. And Kyle says, "Because that has nothing to do with our friendship. So that was just a way of getting a dig in at me." And then says something that's going to create more issues for me out there. And Dorit's like, "How?" The question was specifically, "How has Kyle's friendship with Morgan affected your friendship with Kyle?" And I answered honestly, she says, "Kyle, the last time we were close, we all had dinner with Morgan in London for Mo's birthday." "Yeah, of course. You can bring your special friend Morgan Way to my birthday, sure." After that, it's like you distance yourself from me, Dorit is telling Kyle. And Kyle's like, "I guess I'm trying to look at this from a different perspective now that I knew that. Morgan had nothing to do with me pulling away from you," which is almost more hurtful because it's almost just like, I just didn't like you anymore. I found you very annoying and I don't want to talk to you. Like she's like, it's not Morgan at all. It's actually much simpler. I just don't like you. Because as I knew that it wasn't the case, that comment bothered me because it just created another issue. But I do apologize. This would be, what are the more issues that it causes? Do you mean does it cause issue with your daughters, with Mo, with the public? What are the issues? Andy says, "You told Kyle the real reason she's mad at you is because of the comments about Morgan on Watch What Happens Live. Why do you believe those comments got her in trouble with Morgan?" And Dorit's like, "Anytime Morgan's name is mentioned in any public forum, I'm sure Kyle gets the brunt of it because she's the one who introduced Morgan into this." like into this magical world of housewives. You can say whatever you want about Morgan Wade, but Morgan Wade is a flippin' talented singer. like I'm not even into country music, and I think Morgan Wade's talented. So I always like, and I do like. I mean, Housewives, that's like a huge part of my life, but it's not a huge part of everybody's lives. I would almost dare say musicians are bigger than some Housewives shows, right? And Morgan is on that path. And I don't know. Anyway, Kyle's like, you're right, in the sense that I brought her into this. It's not the mob, Kyle. Well, it is kind of the mob. Never mind. I brought her into this, and I feel guilty about that because it causes her anxiety, and she doesn't want to be a part of that. Do you really think it causes Morgan anxiety, or do you think it just causes Kyle anxiety and she blames it on Morgan? Kind of like Jesse Solomon with Lexi on Summer House, where she's like, like, oh, she's being really aggressive. I don't know. And he's like, well, by the way, Morgan is a public, she's a singer who has music out and performs publicly. And Kyle's like, I know, but it's different in the Housewives fandom and all that. It's very different. Our fandom is a bunch of jackasses they're fucking idiots. And he's like, true, but with singing and performing comes speculation about your life. You put music videos out there. She hasn't experienced it until here. And then he's like, well, she's also experienced, I would think, greater publicity and great attraction and interest as a result of this. I mean, so Andy kind of pushing back of like, yo, you gave her a platform that so many people want. And as a musician trying to get their music, I mean, she's now opening for Alanis Morissette last year. She's out on tour. I mean, it has helped her, right? And Kyle's like, guys, listen, everyone has a different perspective. And Andy shrugs and goes, okay. And Dorit's like, she became a household name. Dorit, cool your jets. Like, she didn't become a, how, this is a Morgan Wade household, damn it. The name of Morgan Wade is sacred in this house. She's a household name. What house? It's like Phi Beta Kappa? Kyle goes, I didn't get in trouble. She did not. It's not like that. Kyle gets so rattled so easily. And Annie is like still pushing. He goes, she had a New York Times article about her. And Kyle's like, okay, that was not, that's not, And Kyle's head just explodes like a watermelon. No. Also, who over at the New York Times has a fucking boner for Bravo? Like, the New York Times, a highly esteemed newspaper, I think still. Like whoever in the last 3 years over there is a huge Bravo fanatic, and Bravo is all over the New York Times. Like I'm really scared tomorrow's New York Times is going to be like tariffs and did Jesse Solomon lead Lexi on Summer House? Page 3 for details. So Dorit's like, by the way, you're the one who said, and God's like, can I finish? And Andy's like, but I do just want to point out, putting out a music video that is like the two. You know how we have those moments, maybe you do as an audience, where you feel like a deep amount of shame about the things that we watch and talk about? I know I have them on a weekly basis on the show where I'm like, oh man, you're like in your 40s, man. This might not be cool. But Andy, I wonder if he has those moments where he's like, what'd you do at work today? He was like, well, I had to press Kyle about her lesbian music video she seems to have forgot she chose to do. But he's like, you put out a music video. You put out a music video where you're kissing Morgan. Don't you think that contributed mightily? He goes, contributed mightily to a conversation that was already a runaway train. God, God bless her. I know what? We'll throw him off the track. We're going to film a video where we're porking each other, and that'll get everybody to stop talking. Mauricio's like, what the fuck, man? I was trying to ignore this, but it's pretty in my face. What are you talking about, Mo? I'm, it is shocked because I'm like, I really sit here and I know you might not sound like it, but I try to like understand everybody's point of view. And I'm always just like, you really did do a next month, it's like Kyle R goes hot. It's like a Kim K sex tape with Kyle and Jorgen Jade. This'll end the conversation. Yeah, like if you're worried in any way, or if you're worried about hurting your children, or like maybe don't do the music video where you're the hot milk next door. And more like like I'm a fucking idiot and I even know not to do that, right? So Kyle goes, I sure did do that. And then he goes, and that was totally in her hands, I have to say. And Kyle's like, and mine. And Andy's like, well, it's like at some point you can't have your cake and eat it too. I mean, sorry. And Dorit's like, but you guys had said if you're going to talk about, let's give them something to talk about. Let's give them something to talk about. A little mission to figure out. I love Bonnie Raitt. Just sidetrack, just a little pivot there. Don't you love Bonnie Raitt? Just oh my god, I can make you love me if you don't. I'm on one tonight, you guys. I know you can tell. I'm super goofy. I'm going on very little sleep, and it was a wild. Like I keep telling you, it was a wild day. So I'm being super goofy. Sutton to Kyle. Sutton to Kyle goes. Was there a cake involved in that video? Jennifer Tilly's like, I love desserts. Kyle goes, so what happened was I didn't get in trouble. I was just like, I can't deal with one more thing. And just like the icing on the cake of all the different things that had been like chipping away at me. So while she doesn't like that, no. And Garcelle just shakes her head. Garcelle's like, I can't believe I'm up here with these idiots. And he's like, Dorit, you have said many times that you would like more money. No, she goes, Dorit, you have said many times that what you wanted from Kyle is more openness and honesty. And Kyle, you seem to want more accountability from Dorit. Did you two get to what you were looking for? Did you get to what you were looking for from each other? Have you gotten to that place? Like, I mean, I'm going to answer this right now. I don't think they got to that place, right? Kyle's like, well, I think we can tell. We can work on that. And Dorit's like, well, I think I definitely felt like I was getting it until, of course, the whole PK tech. Hey, it's time for me. Hey, star. Hey, the star's coming out. Me, PK Kemsley. We're talking about my memes and texts. But she's like, yeah, until the whole PK text message, which I'm sure we'll end up talking about. But I also feel like it's a work in progress, just like Jax Taylor. We break for commercial, we come back, and he's like, welcome back. Well, as if Kyle and Dorit's friendship wasn't already hanging by a thread, Kyle's text thread with PK revealed things aren't always what they meme. And at this point, a bunch of police officers come in to arrest Andy for making that meme joke. And we do a flashback of like the Viper Room night where Dorit's like, PK's in a very unpredictable state of mind. I'm curious if you're speaking to him. And Bo's saying, if Kyle's talking to PK without Dorit's knowledge, this goes against the girl code. And Garcelle in a talking head going, if I was Dorit and I found out that Kyle is keeping PK's secrets, I would be done. It's me, PK, and my chamber of secrets. Hey! Dorit in the talking head's like, it's not even that Kyle's been communicating with PK since our separation. The point is that you're texting my husband when you and I are not talking. That is not girl code, which, by the way, Dorit, suggestion, if you write a book this year, name it Girl Code. And then we go back to the Viper Room, which remember, and I got a comment last week because remember, I was doing a voice for Kyle's forehead vein, and I forgot kind of the voice I did. And I think I named the forehead vein Randy, right? I name any character Randy because I think it's one of the funnier names on God's green earth. And if your name is Randy, that's not a bad thing. Like it really makes me laugh, the name Randy. I think it's just full of comic possibilities. But anyway, I think I named her forehead vein Randy, and I did an imitation, and I got a comment going, no, your Randy imitation was much more aggressive. So I'm going to try to do it. This is Kyle yelling at it with her veins popped out. I apologize. I will not talk to him again. What more do you fucking want from me? Hey, it's Randy. I'm Kyle's forehead vein. What's up? Is this the Viper Room? This looks amazing. I only come out when Kyle gets angry. Wow, live music. And Dorit in the scene of the Viper Room yells back, I want you to stop raising your voice to me. Don't speak to me that way. Do you understand, Kyle? The rules are different. Erika in the talking head's like,
This is exactly why you're not friends with people's spouses. Unless they have money and they can get me things.
so we have all of these. We lead into the Chuck E. Cheese, where Kyle's trying to prove that like, she doesn't text with PK, but she does the opposite, going like, okay, well, this is what I texted. I said, I know you have a lot of friends, but I'm also one, and here if you need me. I've never repeated anything you've shared with me and never would. Now, I've said before, I've made many memes in my career as a podcaster, and this, I keep trying to make, this does not qualify as a meme. Like, I've never made a meme where it's just said this, a very personal message that is not a meme. It's not a joke or a meme. Anyways, they're all saying like Kyle's, story was shifting. And then we go back to the Viper room, and Randy's like, yeah. And Kyle's like, my friendship with PK is memes and jokes. So we have all of this, but it leads to Bose's Wellness Day, which we saw this season, where Kyle flipped out in her bathrobe. And Kyle's like, I've been made to feel like I did something wrong sending a text to PK. I said, I know you have a lot of. I'm fucking done. I'm done. I love you and your family. And fuck everybody. I'm done with this shit. I'm not doing this anymore. Where's Morgan? And Andy, back at the reunion, goes, all right, not pleasant to watch. All right, not pleasant to watch. All right, that was really hard to watch back. And Dorit's like, do you see? Do you not see? I mean, I just wonder when you see that and you tell Bose, she can go fuck off if she thinks I'm going to show her the text. Can you just wrap your head around how fucked up that is? Kids, little Jagaloo and Phoenix, do not listen to mommy. I'm using potty mouth language this whole reunion. I was like, first of all, I'm going to wash your mouth out with soap. Second of all, let me back up a little bit. That text to PK was not a random text on a Wednesday, by the way. I'm thinking about you. It was because the separation happened. And Dorit's like, we already went over this, Kyle. Well, I'm going to say it again. This is my turn to talk. So you kept saying, why didn't you tell me that you texted PK? You and I weren't speaking. And then I did text you and you never responded to it. I saw your announcement for your separation. I texted both of you, period. It was going round and round like this text. God, you know what, guys? You know how many texts I don't return every day? Like, and I would it would never be it's just, I just fucking get overwhelmed and I don't return texts. And like, I mean, like, we're fucking hard. Like, just get up. Ah! We flash back to a never before seen scene between Kyle and Erika. And Kyle's like, I did not blindside Dorit with the right opportune moment about stuff with PK. I mean, PK tells me a lot of stuff. And Erika's like, Zoinks. Hey, it's me, PK. I want to tell you a lot of stuff. Do you know the human head weighs 8 pounds and 14 ounces, Kyle? Do you know, Kyle, how many. He just texts her random facts. Kyle, do you know how many seasons of the hit NBC show Friends there were? 9, Kyle. 9. Dorit's like, oh, I'm talking about Chuck E. Cheese, and I'm talking about you reading the text, just so you know. And God's like, I know. And then Andy's like, let me just ask you this, because after Chuck E. Cheese, she did. See, this is like this is where it hits like my funny bone is like I love Dorit's room at Buca de Beppo. I love when we get like a fast food chain of any sort, and like the fact that Dorit's like angrily talking about Chuck E. Cheese. Like that doesn't you don't get better than that. And also then I wonder like did Chuck E. Cheese like beg to be like, we would, Mr. Cheese would love to open up his location in Covina. So like was the Olive Garden like trying to participate in this? Like I love it. Like Chili's popped up next season to have a conversation about like Kyle's romance. Anyways, Dorit's like, well, she ended up, if you saw at Bose's wellness party, she did not want to, but Bose said, please. And she did, and she stormed off. And Andy's like, well, let me get into some questions I asked on Watch What Happens Live. I asked the viewers to vote in a poll whether they felt the text to PK was inappropriate. And we flash back to Watch What Happens Live with Garcelle. And the poll question says, do you now think Kyle's text to PK were inappropriate? And Garcelle says, absolutely. And Andy goes, and the audience says yes. And Kyle's like, I'm going to get you off this fucking show, Garcelle, whether you like it or not. And I'm going to anybody that voted in that Watch What Happens Live poll are dead to me. Dead. But Andy's kind of getting into it with Kyle a little bit because he's like, they do that Watch What Happens Live clip, and Kyle's like, yeah, of course they would say that. And Andy's like, anyone here, Team Kyle, in terms of the text you heard being justifying? And everybody is silent. And Garcelle shakes her head, and she wants to be like, damn. Erika's like,
I don't think it was what everybody thought it was. I took what it said as not talking about Dorit, but talking about this show.
and Kyle's like, exactly.
That's how I completely read it.
And Sutton's like, nobody thought it was insidious. That's not the point. Hey, Sutton, I forgot you were here. Dorit's like, no, nobody ever said that. And Kyle's like, you have to remember once the announcement was made. And Garcelle goes, I never said anything you said makes it feel like it's something else. And Bose, the voice of reason, goes, I think the thing that is sticking is that you said it's about production or whatever else, that there are secrets. That's what it sounded like. And Kyle rolls her eyes. I'm going to roll my eyes and shake my head. And Andy goes, how would you feel if you saw a text from Dorit to Mo saying that he can trust her because he's never repeated anything he told her and won't? It's me, Dorit, it's me, Mo. You can tell me anything. I will not repeat. My Mo is turning into Arnold Schwarzenegger. You will not. It's not a tumor. I'm a learning computer, a robot. And Sarit says, "Yeah. What if? And what if I didn't tell you?" And Andy goes, "How would you?" And Kyle goes, "I understand. That would bother me. Yeah, I think yeah, because I know I would think the same thing. I'm just telling you, my intention wasn't bad." And Dorit's like, "But Kyle, you can still abide by girl code. Please, can somebody fucking do like the Declaration of Independence with the girl code and the guy code? I feel like they're like we need it somewhere like written down so it's like, oh, that's girl code, that's guy code, and there will be no more discussion of it ever." Kyle was like, well, where was your girl code when you read my text for millions of people to see? Well, to be fair, I think the, point 0.9 million, like, a little under. Anyways, she goes, I'm sorry, but that's not only breaking girl code, that's breaking friend code. Now there's a friend code? There's a girl code, guy code, friend code? And then she goes, that's breaking human decency code. How many flipping codes are there? And Dorit's like, don't you understand that at the point we're not friends in my mind, you already went publicly and said we were never close friends? And Kyle's like, and what am I supposed to call and say? I know we're not speaking, but I sent your husband you both a text. I felt like every time I came to the group, it was coming at me and coming at me, and I had fucking had it. You do have the option to not come back to this show, Kyle. So you've Sutton's like, well, these two who don't even like you are saying, I can't believe it. And she, Bose, is saying, put your phone down and let me look at that. And you're saying, Kyle, and everybody's coming like this. What the hell was that? So I didn't even. Okay, Sutton, I'm going to speak a foreign language right now. Bo says, I said block him. Let's just be clear. I said block him. And Dorit's like, Kyle, your reaction was so over the top. And Kyle's like, it was. And Dorit's like, and would I expect you to say, yeah, actually, I sent him a message when you guys separated? That would be the response I would expect. Do you understand? And Kyle's like, I wish I had said it like that. Dorit's like, but you didn't. You flipped out. And Kyle's like, I'm a girl's girl. I'm Morgan Schmade. I come from a family of all women. Sorry. Just I'm a girl's girl. I have all daughters. I've always been a girl's girl. And does that feel like a girl's girl texting ex-husbands? Of course it does not. A husband you're separated for? Of course it does not. And Garcelle winces. I'm wincing at home going like, where are we legitimately going with this? And Dorit's like, you are my friend. And if we are as close as you suggest, it depends on the day. But if we are that close, you don't do that, Kyle. And Kyle's like, I understand that. And remember, listen. And Dorit's like, you're in your confessional saying, PK's been a better friend to me than Dorit has. And we flash back to that confessional. And Kyle's like, well, he checked in on me when we were separated, and I was struggling. Hey, it's me, PK. I heard about a separation. How are you doing, Kyle? Are you wearing some lingerie, some nice lingeries? It's me, PK. I'm texting you. Are you lonely? Do you want a funny meme? Bose is smiling like a big Cheshire cat here. And Dorit's like, and is that a better friend? And Kyle just stares blankly, just crushing her crystals that she has next to her. And Dorit's like, just please, all I need you to do is just marinate on this. I will not marinate. I follow the marinating code. But Dorit's like, I was not in a good place at all. And Guy's like, me either. And Dorit's like, not at all. But when you needed me after the wellness event, which I came after you, Kyle, I saw you undone, unglued. And we flash back to that scene of Dorit running after Kyle and saying, like, let's just take a deep breath. Dorit at the reunion says, no matter what my feelings were about how you hurt me, all that mattered to me was making sure you were okay. And so Andy nods, Erika nods, and, I nod, we all nod. And Kyle's like, and I appreciated that. And Drake's like, just listen, I wasn't in a good place, so I'm going to react a certain way. But Kyle keeps pushing. She's like, so did my version of reaching out to you, trying to be there for you too by texting you. I also tried there for you. And that's the sound of Kyle's crystal dropping that she was holding. It's like, what are we just are we allowed to bring out like stuffed animal, like stuffies? Like what are we like we need like our little blankies and stuff like no like Kyle has a crystal farm with her, and it's like literally dropping out like every segment. Like, oops, there goes my emerald. Like it's like what the fuck? And this is my lucky Fonzie doll. Anyways, Bose is like, crystal's down, not Crystal Minkoff. Which, by the way, at this point, bring Crystal Minkoff back. Andy's like, bad juju. Shut up, Andy. Kyle's like, while you walked outside to get me, I was doing my version of reaching out to you, trying to be there for you too when you announced your separation to read by text. This is so dumb. Like, you just think like, I didn't want to fucking text you because like I'm in a season of a friendship with you where I don't like you right now. Like, we'll maybe get back to that, but like, let's just drop it, man. Like, also just go with like, I don't have good, like, I have AT&T. It's not great cellular service, you know? Garcelle goes, I think that Dorit just wanted you to choose her. I was like, shut the fuck up. Dorit goes, no, I wanted her to be honest with me. And Andy goes, Bo said on the Hot Mic podcast when discussing Textgate, Kyle is a liar. And we flash back 3 weeks earlier to Bravo's Hot Mic podcast hosted by executive producer Alex Baskin, who, yeah, Alex Baskin. Bo says to Alex, I don't know if Kyle knew that I thought she was a liar or that I think she is a liar. Let me make that correct. Say like girl. That girl was lying. Bo says this on the podcast. And Kyle puffs and goes, wow, okay, I've never been accused of being a liar. And Bo's is like, well, there were lies told. Guys, say it with me. She was standing 10 toes down when she said that. And Kyle's like, what? I'll get you out of here like Garcelle. Bose goes, I said there were lies told. I like Bose is like, did I stutter? Kyle's like, what were the lies? And Bose goes, you said you were texting jokes and memes, and then it was discovered it was something else. I never lie. And Bose goes, well, in the conversations that I was a part of, you said it was just jokes and memes, and then it came out that it was more than that. So from my perspective, which was all I was talking about, there was omissions. Omissions equals lies. Ooh, Bose. Oh, killing the first season. Bose killing the reunion. Sutton's not speaking at all, but Bose is making a lot of sense. Like, she's just calmly saying this. And I don't know, like, is Kyle a Taurus? Like, I'm a Taurus and I can be really stubborn. Like, this just feels like stubbornness that, like, who cares? Who cares? Like, just say, I see the error of my ways. Yeah, I was really afraid. And I said some stupid shit. Garcelle's like, it would have been okay to say, you know what? Yeah, I did talk some shit about you, but I was mad at you. And Kyle's like, Dorit, I can tell you one time that he came over at the agency party we had at our house. And Erika mutters,
Oh, Lord, don't be telling us this now. Oh, God.
and Kyle's like, and that was the only time I had a conversation about just you was why we weren't speaking. He's never gossiped about you to me. He's not going to do that. Hey, Dorit, she's got a big dumpy butt. Yeah, her belly button, she got an outie and it looks weird. So Kyle's going, yeah, he came up to the agency party, but he's never talked shit about you. And Dorit's like, no, but you talked to him about me. And Kyle's like, I was in our living room. Dorit and I weren't speaking because I was upset about this or that. And then he goes, she says you talk to him about her. And Kyle's like, telling him why we weren't speaking. And Dorit's like, yes, talking shit. Like you're talking to my husband. Like he's on your side. Just like you were trying to get these girls on your side. And Kyle's like, and I told him my feelings were hurt. Like, Kyle, why are you still talking? Why are you still talking? And Dorit's like, Kyle, it's juvenile. It's jagaloo behavior in Phoenix. They're actual juveniles, not you, Kyle. Even Randy, Kyle's forehead vein, is like, what the fuck, Kyle? Just shut up. And he's like, have you texted with PK since? And Kyle's like, I texted when Jagger was in the hospital. I mean, this is the point, man. We got to get to the point in these shows where it's like, okay, let me see your phone. Get your phone out. Like, Andy, you got to do it. Hey, give me your phone. Give it to me. Like we put all the phones in a fucking bag and then just put them next to Andy's chair. And that way, if Andy feels like there's any like weird shit happening, you go, okay, let's get the phones out. Right? Dorit says it bothers me that she believes she's got this friendship with PK where he holds her secrets. And guess what? He tells me every single thing, Kyle. So I know everything. I wonder how true that statement is because Dorit in the first part of the reunion is like, we barely see each other. He has the kids on Saturdays, sometimes Saturday nights. Like, I'm so confused. Like, hey, guess what, Dorit? I had a private conversation with Kyle, and now I'm going to give you all the download. She doesn't want to talk about Schmorg and Schmade, huh? Have you heard that, huh? What? Dre says, I know you text him, and do you know how much I have bitten my tongue? And Andy goes, what more do you know that she hasn't told you or that he's told you? And Dorit's like, that she reached out to him after Oceanside. That was the party that Kathy threw at the beginning of the season. She called him and told him that her and I had gotten into a fight. And Andy's like, you went back to your room in Oceanside and called PK? And Kyle's flustered. After Oceanside, I called PK. This is before the whole thing came up about the text message in the Viper room and all that. And I just said, so you know that there's this huge drama. I think he was actually with Mo. So that, that doesn't count. And I said that there's this huge drama. And like, that is it. That is weird. Like, hey, PK, it's me. Kyle, guess what? Your bitch wife. We just had a fight. So I'm calling you. Send me a meme. Dorit whispers, oh my God. Okay. Kyle squints her eyes and shakes her head. This is your girl's girl, ladies and gentlemen. And he goes, all right, I want to. And he goes, all right, I want to move on. And this is kind of it for talking about your friendship. So is there a rule of the road? Where do you two go from here? And Kyle, like, I hate when they do this. Like, first off, listen, why does this have to be the end of this conversation? We had all the time in the world. You can slap advertisements on it and do 10 parts of the reunion. Like, if you got a good conversation going, but I hate that we're forced into this kind of forced Kyle, like, well, all I know is that you're important enough for me, and I hope we get to a better place, and, we all need support, and I do love you a lot. And then Dorit's like, well, that makes me happy, but I'd love to get together, just you and I, no cameras, no girls, no Andy. No Schmorgan Schmade, none of these people, and actually have a sit down and see where we are. Is it still there? Don't do that. Sounds like a trap, Kyle. And I'm going to cut Kyle. Andy says, who makes the first move on that? And Kyle's like, well, I'm happy to, and I apologize for any way. This feels just so politician. I apologize for any way that I've hurt you, and I can see where things would look weird. I understand that. I get that, and I really do apologize for that. And Dorit's like, I couldn't ask for anything more. And Andy's like, that's nice. Okay, we're going to leave it right there. Positivity. Keep that crystal. We'll be right back. And Kyle's like, it just jumps out of my hand again. And Andy's like, I know, that was scary. What is happening now? Are we bringing out a special guest? And so now this is our Jennifer Tilly section. And she's like, I want to welcome one of the most decorated friends of the one and only Jennifer Rabbit. Hi, Jennifer Tilly. You make me feel like I'm covered with medals of valor. And he's like, how are you, Jennifer? How are you feeling headed into your first reunion? I'm prepared for anything that comes at me. And so, he's doing the whole like Jennifer, Louis Vuitton, wearing and Simpsons owning, Oscar nominated. And we show a clip package of Jennifer Tilly going, Sutton, Sutton, yeah, Jennifer. And Sutton's like, Jennifer Tilly is one of my best friends. And then we have a bunch of clips of Jennifer going, she has an amazing laugh. She lets us know in the clip package that she is known for The Bride of Chucky, but she was also Oscar nominated for the excellent Bullets Over Broadway, folks, an amazing film with Diane Weiss and John Cusack. Jennifer in the clip package lets us know that her ex-husband was Sam Simon, who created The Simpsons. He has since passed away. She was married to him for 7 years, and when she got divorced, she got a piece of The Simpsons money. And she's like, thank you. Hello, I'm not buying diamonds on Chucky money. And Erika is like,
I'm living for her necklace.
and Jennifer's like, it's Chanel. And we have a clip package of all like her travel jewelry box. It's Hermes. And like, this is the boat. It's a Louis Vuitton purse in a boat. In a talking head, she's like, I feel like life is short. I have fabulous jewelry. I have fabulous clothes. And if I want to wear my fabulous jewelry and clothes, so be it. I'm such an obnoxious show off. And Eric in a talking head goes,
That bitch has got good shit.
Jennifer goes, I like the part where I walk in slow motion. That's one of my special skills. Because they end the clip package with like Jennifer Tilly walking in slow motion. And he goes, you've been nominated for an Oscar. You're a fashion icon. You're a horror icon. You won the World Series of Poker, yet your bio on Instagram simply says friend of. Has the experience been what you thought it would be? Well, it's really interesting because I used to get a lot of respect. Some people would come over to me and say, I'm such a huge fan and run away. But now they're like, scoot over, everybody. We want to sit down and have a kiki. And you know what? Everybody knows I'm a Housewives super fan. It's really different to be in it. I'm sure you all know because, it's really real. And Boz is like, yeah, that's what I said. It's real and it's glamorous and they're screaming. Ha ha ha. It's like the part that everybody loves. And he's like, you seem at first at Oceanside to really enjoy it. And then by St. Lucia, you were kind of in the middle of it and maybe it was less fun. I want to talk about some of the spectacular pieces you paraded around this season. And she talks about being a show off with her jewelry and talked about her boat bag. And Jennifer's like, it was designed by Pharrell, the singer, and I have a special relationship with my Louis Vuitton person, like a lot of people have with a jug dealer. I have a bag dealer. I'll suck your dick for a bag. I'll suck your dick for a Louis Vuitton bag. Sorry. By the way, I love how they keep showing Erika Jayne completely jealous. Like,
God damn it. Oh my God. Why couldn't Tom have just died before I did all that criminal activity? Ah!
anyways, she's talking like the bag that she had. It said $33,000, but she'd only paid $24,000. But it's probably worth 33. I don't know. God, that's insane. Like, how much is the most expensive bag you guys have ever bought? I don't know if I could ever do that. Well, also, I don't think I could pull up a purse, but you know what I'm saying? Anyways, they're just talking about her like aquamarine and ruby belt buckle necklace, and that it's been the necklace she was wearing in the title shoot has been called the most important piece of American jewelry. And Andy asks, what makes that necklace so special? And she says, well, Cole Porter, the musician, commissioned it from a jeweler called Flatto for his wife, Linda Lee Porter. So it's a famous fashionista. So it's a famous necklace. I mean, Cole Porter, that's legendary. I mean, like this Jennifer Tilly. I mean, you got to love that attitude of like, life's short and I want to wear pretty things. I'm not going to shop mainly at Old Navy like Ryan Bailey. Jennifer goes, I wanted to buy it for 20 years. And Andy's like, you bought it at auction? And she's like, no, I wanted to buy it. The first time I saw it, I couldn't afford it. And then I got really rich and then I could afford it and I bought it. And Andy's like, so are those Simpson checks like more than seven figures a year? And Jennifer's like, I cannot say. And Kyle's like, I'm going to take a guess by looking at her jewelry. It absolutely is. And they show her fingers are just covered in giant diamonds, encrusted like yellow gold jewels. Like, I mean, I would I would have bodyguards with me at all times. I would be scared like Erika would like try to pocket shit. And he's like, and I just want to say for anyone getting any ideas, you keep all your jewelry at the bank. And she's like, yeah, in a safety deposit vault. Do you hear that, Kyle? Do you hear like keep your shit at the bank? Don't everybody knows when you show this shit off on. Anyways, Andy talks about her throwing a couple digs on the Beverly Hills after show that they have on Peacock. And we have a flashback of Jennifer talking about the Beverly Hills Hotel and talking about how she doesn't think Dorit can afford it. That's a really expensive hotel. And Garcelle going, damn, did you hear that? And Jennifer in the reunion goes, okay, I'm going to do a preemptive apology. And I didn't feel like that was a dig at you, Dorit. It's very expensive to stay at the Beverly Hills Hotel. But maybe if you're only staying in the bungalows, I thought it was like $25,000 a night. And Dorit's like, oh, no, it's not. Yeah, man. Uh, I just don't think I could ever think like a rich person. So, like, if you have, like, I know she doesn't own the house, but if you have a house, like, in the area, like, I know it's a 30-minute drive from Beverly Hills, but, like, there's no need, like, help us help you. Like, don't be spending money on stupid shit? But Jennifer's like, yeah, that was tacky of me. And I was just thinking out loud. But she's like, but guy, tell me your feelings and if that made you feel bad, Dorit, but I didn't mean to impugn you. I don't know if PK saw that. And Dorit's looking at Jennifer like she's a kind of amused, but like just tired at the same time. She's like, well, I've adored you since the moment I met you, but I was Really excited, and we had some fun times, and I think you're such a fantastic addition to this group. I hope you're not going anywhere, which is kind of a little bit of a rib. Like, well, we know how some people don't last past the first season, but when I saw a couple of comments you made, it actually felt like you had joined. And she's like, the dark side? Well, like the witches of Eastwick. And it just felt, and Jennifer's like, I have a big mouth, and I didn't even know I had said something bad until Garcelle's like, ooh, girl, you went there. And I'm like, where did I go? And I thought, oh, I guess that is low. And then I noticed the fans were saying, oh, that was really shady, you know? Jennifer could make it up. I was like, here's $100,000 piece of jewelry, Dorit. And he goes, it's so fun watching you, and we're going to leave you leave it there and take a break. So this was Jennifer Tilly's big, part of the reunion. Um, Jennifer whispers to Garcelle, goes, do you think Sutton's on some anxiety medication? And Garcelle goes, we're mic'd. Oh, oopsie. But I was kind of thinking, is Sutton on some kind of, she's so chill. And he goes, we're back. Now I want to bring out one of my three favorite Richard sisters, and I swear I love them all the same. Kathy Hilton. And Kathy just like, hey, where am I? I'm just bumbling. And Eric is like, they're talking about her bringing her purse. And he says, it's great to see you. Got a big kick out of you at Sutton's fashion show, where, remember, she was in the middle of the runway. And they're like, Kathy, sit down. The show started. And he goes, how does it feel to be called fashion roadkill? And Kyle's like, I thought you were looking for the bathroom. I thought you were looking for the shitter. I'm like, all the time the show's about to start right now. And Kathy's like,
No, I was talking to Mrs. Girardi.
and Erica's like, oh, sorry, that was you. Kathy goes, no, I was talking to Mrs. Girardi. And Erica's like,
I'm Mrs. Girardi, but that's okay.
and they show Kathy talking to somebody else that isn't Erica. And Kathy's like, well, that's the same thing. What is your last name? And Erica's like,
Well, it's become a real conversation lately. My name is Erika Girardi,
but your last name, Erika Jayne, what?
nothing. Erika Jayne is just a professional name.
And Andy's like, it's her stage name. It's like a persona. And Kathy's like, oh, do you perform? No, no, okay. Erika goes,
Oh, I have a country middle name. My mother's name's Renee. Allegedly, my father used to call her Nene. So it's Erika Nee, honey.
thank you. Between this and the wallpaper, just excellent work this season. Andy goes, Kathy, I notice you have an uncanny ability to extract gossip and tea from these women in a way that no one else seems to be able to do. What's your secret? Well, give me just like an example. And Andy goes, at the lunch at your house, you did a very good job. And Catherine's like, you were hysterical. No, Bose goes, what you said was, I'm losing my mind. Bose says, you said you were part Chinese, Kathy. That was hysterical. And we have a flashback to that scene where Kathy was like, when I was in Venice, this lady knew everything and knew I am part Chinese, 3000 BC. And Bose is like, what? In the reunion, Kyle's like, am I Chinese? And Kathy's like, well, this happened on a couture show for Max Mara. And Kyle's like, where is this going? And Andy goes, so you heard you were Asian at the Max Mara show? Yes, in a castle. Get Kathy Hilton on Traders yesterday. Kyle's like, you heard, or did you do a test? Is it a psychic? Is it DNA? And Erica's like,
It's a psychic from Venice.
and Andy goes, okay, in Venice, Italy, you found out you were Asian. And Kyle's like, are we Chinese or are we not Chinese? And Kathy goes, there was a lady that said, what's your name? And I said, Kathy Hilton. And she said, what is your background? And I said, actually, I'm part Northern Italian. And she asked me for my birth name. So I told her and she looked it up.
And she found out you were Chinese from 3,000 years ago?
And Andy goes, where did she look it up? And Kathy goes, on her phone. And Bose goes, she Googled it? And Kathy's like, well, I didn't even think she knew anything about me. And Andy goes, clearly, she said you were Asian. Right. Andy goes, in Beverly Hills, the women are quite filtered. You came right out and said Mauricio had aged badly, and that PK looked 56 a decade ago when you met him. And you thought his name was PJ. Have you always been this shady, or has hanging out with these ladies gotten you in the game? And Kathy goes, I think it's rubbed off a little bit. And Erica's like,
Kathy, you are the originator.
and Kathy goes, no, I meant it in a good way. And he goes, you did that he looked 56 10 years ago? Well, he looked more. And Dre's like, older? Yeah, older. Yes, like with the weight on him, sophisticated.
The weight?
You said after to me he looked better since he stopped drinking, Kathy. Yes, I did. He did. Yeah, now I see his baby, his beautiful PJ baby face. And Bose goes, so he looked older when you met him before because of the drinking and the weight. Yeah, and said, how old is he? I always thought there was a bigger age. I always thought he liked him young. I'll just say that. And Jennifer's like, well, Dorit looks really young. And as far as Maurice, the old Mauricio, he looked like your father when I look at the picture compared to the way she looks. Oh my God. I'm having a stroke. Andy goes, okay, on Watch What Happens Live, I asked Erica who's the most guilty of sucking up to Kathy. And we have a flashback to that. And Erica's like,
Sutton Stracke followed closely by Garcelle.
and Andy goes, do they suck up to you, Kathy? And Kathy's like, no, we talk about real things, like my Chinese ancestry. Garcelle goes, excuse me, can we ask Erica what that was based on?
Based on it's my opinion, Garcelle, I was asked a shady question. I gave a shady answer. It's Watch What Happens Live.
Oh, right. It's just to be fun. Remember that? Oh, never mind. Erica goes,
Yeah, it wasn't like I sat around thinking about it.
Andy goes, Sutton, what was your response to that? Yeah, Sutton. Hey, Sutton, wake up. Kyle's like, Kathy, you aren't going to chew that gum right now, are you? Kathy's like taking out a piece of gum. And she's like, I'm just going to suck on it for a second. We're on television. I'm just going to suck on. How many licks does it take to get to the middle of this lollipop? Son's like, well, Kathy and I are friends. We talk a lot. And there's no sucking up. We're friends. And Kyle's like, did you faint last year because you were afraid of her? Well, yes, I did. I believe I did. That was last year at the reunion, right? And Son's like, no, 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 no. I fainted because I had a terrible case of the bronchitis. I had the vapors and I needed to go to the hospital. And Kathy's like, good way to get out of it. Well, it was a really great way to leave. I'll say it. I've been thinking about how I can do it this time too, just about right now. No, 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 no. I love Kathy to pieces, right? Yeah. You can tell Sutton is extremely nervous. And he goes, all right, before we move on, I do want to ask about Kim, their sister, Kim Richards, the legendary Kim Richards. We've all read that she's not doing well. I also heard that she's moved to Florida. Is there any updates? And they have a Daily Mail headline saying that Kim, 60, was placed on a psychiatric hold amid reported substance abuse relapse. And Kathy goes, well, she's spending time there, and I think she's doing better. And Kyle's like, better than the last time that there was stuff in the press, yes. And Kathy's like, and that always, yes, exactly. And Kyle gives Kathy a look that kind of says, shut the F up. And Nanny's like, well, we're all thinking about her. And Kathy and Kyle are both like, thank you. And he goes, it didn't take long for Sutton's ribbon ceremony about sisterhood to unravel into weaponized wallets and watermelon cocktails. In the end, was Sutton able to wrap up these friendships in a nice little bow? The answer is a definitive no, ma'am. Let's take a look. And we have the ceremony from the beginning of let's join our palms together. We are now sisters forever. I say. And that just not is not how the season turned out to be. And we have clips of Dorit like, you can't be real and honest, so you can't lead the charge, Sutton. And Sutton's like, you're angry. You're not angry at me. You're angry at your life, I say. And we just have clips of just Sutton not being great from like, well, you gonna pick on somebody whose wallet fits. That's what, just she said horrible things all season long. But these kind of extreme characters, I will argue that there's sometimes they serve a purpose, right? Dorit in the talking head going, just because her ex-husband dropped a big pocketbook in her lap, it gives her license to be such a effing see you next Tuesday. And by the way, Dorit does say the C-U-N-T word, and I can't say it out loud anymore because Maritza told us we had a bunch of videos where I said it and we got demonetized. Thanks a lot, Dorit. Thanks a lot. But you're the potty mouth. I'm just literally reading transcribed notes. Anyways, it was just a bad season for Sutton, and Sutton is like, don't make me your enemy. Don't make me your enemy. Trust me. And Sutton on the boats to herself, remembers like, oh, she's such a fucking bitch. And he goes, all right, Sutton, what was your goal during the ceremony? Well, it's just, I felt like we were all so disjointed. I want to bring it back together. Let's, if we get angry in the moment, that we can apologize and still remain friends. I say, how did that go for you? And he says, let's talk about the word weaponized. Jessica Rabbit, Jessica, I always, Randy Butthole on Twitter said, Dorit called someone at the table a C word, but what Sutton said about her misdirected anger was too low. Okay. Garcelle, do you think Bose overreacted to Sutton's comment? And Garcelle's like, yeah, I do. And Bose goes, how is that overreacting? You said the words to hurt. And Sutton's like, no, I didn't. And Bose is like, yes, you did. And Sutton's like, no, not with the intent to hurt. And Bose is like, you did. You chose your words. That is, I like if Bose just explaining basic like human like the ways humans interact. Yeah, you chose your words. That is intention. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. And Bose is like, I think the challenge of having a lot of these conversations is that you can't take accountability for your actions. Well, but aren't we having that same kind of thing at Kyle? Like she can't take accountability for her actions? Like the mirror has 10 faces. Son's like, well, no, no, no. Here's the thing. And Bo's like, you got to say, I've said this thing, I meant it, and you can't forget it. But instead, you say, no, he's like, I said this thing, I meant it, and you can forget it. But instead, you say, and Son's like, but Dorit, she was yelling at everyone. And Dorit's like, oh, God. And Son's like, she was cussing at Camille Grandma, the queen of IBS. She was like crazy. And we flash back to Kyle's diamond and denim party. And Dorit once again says the see you next Tuesday word that I can't say. Honey, you are a total see you next Tuesday to me. You are a total see you next Tuesday. You know why? And Camille's like, you called me a fucking see you next Tuesday. And Dorit's like, I called you a stupid fucking see you next Tuesday. Bose of the reunion says, but that's not the way to get somebody to stop yelling. There are so many better ways to do it. Like, have you ever tried masking tape? And Son's like, okay, well, I agree. You know, there are a lot of times where I can say things in better ways. And I can learn from that. Oh, Son can learn. And that's something that I can learn from, you know? God, Sutton, what happened to you, man? Like, ah, 10 toes down, Sutton. Bo says, see, that right there, that's taking accountability. And Andy goes, well, sisterhood is all about sharing difficult moments in your life. And the first time Dorit opened up to the group about Jagger, you really abruptly interrupted her. And remember that the trip where Dorit's like, talking about her child finding out from somebody at school on Instagram about like the separation with PK and Dorit. And she's like, well, it was just crazy. And, you know, this is what's happening. And Sid's like, well, you know, we got to go. Come on. Let's stop this kind of a thing. This is crazy. Let's go on. Hit the road. And Dorit's like, you not only abruptly interrupted, you then proceeded to be even more of a bitch saying, well, it was long. Well, it was a long walk. And Son's like, well, we had been there for a while, and production asked me to interrupt you, and I didn't know how to do it. And Dorit's like, you're Miss Manners. And Son's kind of like, production wanted me to do it. And Dorit's like, I thought you were Miss Manners, my Miss Southern Manners. And Son's like, I'm not Miss Manners anymore. And Dorit's like, you are. No, I'm not. So you should know that that's rude. Well, I didn't know how to interrupt. And Andy's like, well, what if you had said, I know this is a terribly awkward moment to interrupt, but they're asking us to leave. Well, yeah, that's a good point. I did it so poorly. I did it so poorly. I did it terribly, Andrew. And Dorit's like, you did it deliberately. You haven't said two words since you've been here. So she's talking about her performance at the reunion and says like, well, sometimes. And Dorit's like, the person who was in this season who was so vicious, you know, with that real beady stare that like you really wanted to go low. Where is she? She didn't come today? Ooh. Like Dorit getting real like, where's that little bitch Sutton? Can you come out and play? And just Sutton stares at her and smiles. And Dorit's like poking. She's like, she didn't come today, Sutton? Where is she? Because this person is not genuine. That's not who shows up, and this is definitely not who's here all season long. And Sutton's like, well, where's the person who calls everybody the C word, the see you next Tuesday word? And Dorit's like, I'm right here. And Andy's like, well, that brings us to Sutton's wallet comment. Garcelle, was this a moment where you felt like you couldn't defend Sutton? And Garcelle's like, yeah. And Sutton's like, well, Sutton can't even defend Sutton, Andy. And Kyle's like, I thought it was a terrible comment. I was actually really shocked. Okay. And Dorit's like, well, what about her confessionals after that? And Kyle's like, how she doubled down? Oh, double down, triple down, quadruple down. And Kyle's like, I thought it was very clear. I thought it was a disgusting comment. And Jennifer's like, I thought it was very beneath you. And Kathy's like, well, we talked about it the other night, Sutton, and you said to me, I'm not proud of that. And I said, you shouldn't be. And then I was like, I'm Chinese. And Sutton's like, no, no, he was terrible. You know, you did in a confessional say that I'm kind of an alcoholic though. And Dorit's like, the only thing your wallet bought you was a horse and not a date. What happened to Santos? Is Santos okay? We've had no updates on Santos this season. But Sutton's like, that wasn't nice either. And Dorit's like, do you think you deserved it? And Sutton stares, doesn't answer, not really taking any accountability. And Dorit goes, you don't exactly live like the Queen of Sheba. You live on a fucking main road. And Andy goes, so she lives on a street front in Bel Air. That's what you're weaponizing against her? And Dorit's like, well, I wouldn't want to live on a fucking main road. I'm quite happy where I am. I live in Dorit's room in Bucatapapo, and my life is full of love. Oh God. Oh my God. We're all just lying to ourselves. Like, you don't own your house. Sutton lived in a main road, but it's still like money that like it's paid. And Dorit, how is your life full? I mean, the kids love, but the love's not there from PK. Like it's okay to not have. It's okay to fucking be on the down and outs. Like, and then you'll rise like a phoenix the next season. Dorit says there's a hell of a lot more to a big than a big bank account. A hell of a lot more, Sutton. But you have to be nice in order to get love. And Jennifer Tilly tries to sneak chips into her mouth and chew them without. Time for a little snack for Jennifer Tilly. This is so intense that I need a Dorito. And since Dorit, I do not need for you to tell me that there's more life than a big bank account because there's also Bitcoin. And Dorit's like, I mean, I don't understand why you think you're so superior to anyone. Well, I don't think I'm superior to anyone. You certainly behave like it, and I know you're used to buying people and buying gifts and trying to throw it around, but Sutton, there's a lot more to life. And Sutton's like, who do I buy, Dorit? What in the world are you talking about? That I buy people? Who have I tried to buy? Honey. And so now she's like activated, and Dorit's like, oh, here she comes. There she is. And Jennifer to Garcelle goes, this is so awful. I need a big gulp. And Garcelle's like, terrible. And Dorit's like, here she comes. Woo-hoo. And this is when I imagine like a big cage just falls in the middle of the stage, like cage match time. And then Andy goes, next week, the reunion concludes. And we have Andy going, you told your girls, Kathy, you may be a lesbian too. And Kyle's like, zoinks. And Kathy's like, well, just to make Kyle feel better. And then Bo's saying, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know what was going on. And Sutton's like, you came on strong. And Bose goes, I am strong. And then Andy to Kyle going, did you have any indication that he was seeing anybody? And Kyle's like, I do know every fucking crumb. Okay. And then the reunion is over. They all stand, and Garcelle goes, I'm out. And Andy goes, oh no. And Garcelle's like, I'm out. And we see Garcelle walk off set. And Dorit's like, that's really unprofessional, Garcelle. And we see her car drive away. Wow, you guys, we did it. What a reunion. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. That was super silly. We'll do a summer house recap hopefully on Friday. I'll be in Vegas, so that will be recorded from Vegas. I'll try to keep you posted on the Jeff Lewis Chump Con. If you like the show, give it a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I'll be doing a Patreon episode as well. And I just really appreciate you being here. And I hope I provided you with some sort of stupid giggle today. Okay. Have a great Thursday. Bye.